Welcome to the show.
This clap is going to... Oh, take that. Okay.
Can I have a drink?
Yes.
A Waterloo?
Yes, hang on, though. Because I brought you a very special treat.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I brought myself one, too.
That is epic.
Lulu's.
That's awesome. Maybe we'll get sponsored by Waterloo someday.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Oh, wow. You even got the Lions coasters?
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. I'm Kev. That's Kai Guy. Today, Kyle, we are going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, everything about being a real estate agent, because I feel like it's hella glamorized in the media.
Outside world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not quite what everybody thinks that it is. So why don't we start by you telling your origin story? How did you start in the biz of real estate?
Getting into it?
Mm-hmm.
My story is very simple. I was just, before 2016, I was in between jobs. We ran into each other.
Do you remember where?
Where we ran into each other? I don't.
Yeah.
Or wasn't it a wedding?
Yeah, it was Strick's wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you started talking about real estate, and you looked like you were doing pretty well. And I was like, how do I get in on some of that action? And then we went and had lunch.
Yeah.
And I decided to quit all my jobs and go all in. And it was a great decision.
Just think if we wouldn't have ran into each other by happenstance, you'd be an auto detailer right now.
No, where was I?
You were going to be a
I was working
detailer
at
at...
like two kitchens at the time, and then I was going to work at Quick.
No, you're going to work at Midland Ford detailing cars.
And I had just accepted a position there, and then once I got into, I think I started at Delta to do the pre-licensing.
Yeah.
And then I just called you, and I was like, I'm just going to go for it. Just teach me everything you know.
Yeah. And you thought that I made up words because I said the word Chillicothe?
Yeah.
After I just got my
dog. A lot of metaphors. And anybody watching this that's been trained by you will know that you are huge on the best metaphors.
I'm the king of metaphors.
Sometimes they're repetitive, but they're still great.
Yeah. Yeah, I started, I was working at a commercial roofing manufacturer called Duralast.
What year was that?
2013. And I bought my house from who was my previous broker, so I was just friends with her on social media, and I happened to see she made a post on LinkedIn that she had job opportunities. I was working in Saginaw. I didn't want to work 40 minutes from home anymore, so I decided to reach out to her, and she said, yeah, I got a clerical position, like a secretary for one of my agents. And then I have another agent that's looking for like a licensed assistant type of thing.
So did you start as an assistant?
No. So the way that it went was I said, okay, well, I'd be interested. And then she said, well, we got tickets to a suite at a Loons game. And why don't you come up there and you can meet everybody and see if it's a fit. What she was trying to do was put me in proximity to Logan Ricchetti, who was like just over a year into his career, and he was doing really well at the time in sales and all of that. And I think she just wanted to see if he and I would gel in the same room together. So I went up there and I really didn't know what to expect. Watched the Loons game, talked to everybody. I talked to Logan for a little bit, and then after that, I said, well, what do you need from me? And she said, well, you got to go get your license. So I went, got my license, and then, but at the time, like, I don't think that I got my license, but Logan wasn't like looking, basically from what I remember, he said, well, maybe I'll try to help the guy out. I'll spin him a lead or two and see if he can do anything with it or whatever. But so I just got my license, just became a real estate agent. there at that company. But then, you know, as I got to know Logan more, and he and I worked together, I worked with him way more directly than I worked with my broker, and so I learned, you know, everything. And in that year and little over a year, we became close. You know what I mean? And then when he opened Modern Realty, I came right with him. And so that was my.
Was that like a year after that?
Yeah, it was like a year and 3 months. It was a little over a year when Modern Realty then was
And that's
born
when
July.
the boot camp system was developed.
Yeah,
which is
boot camp started, I don't know, 6 months. It was kind of like in the second batch of agents that we got.
I joined Modern like right as the first year of it
Yeah,
being alive.
would have been 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was when after I talked to you, that was when you brought me in. I talked to Logan, and then I got boot camped in, and
Yeah, we boot
that was
camped.
great. Great way to get you, like, as a new agent that knows nothing is an amazing.
Yeah.
Like coming in and just being able to learn the actual job, the day to day, and the life cycle, the client life cycle on both sides.
Yeah, which is kind of what we're going to talk about today, because real estate isn't what most people think. I don't know about you. All the time I get approached kind of like, I'm thinking of getting into real estate, you know, this and that. And people do not understand.
My first instinct, sadly, is like, run. Don't do it.
Sometimes it depends on the personality profile.
But no, like it can be. It's a great career, but it's definitely something, you know, you get what you put into it.
Well, it's
for sure.
To me, it's the best job I could ever have, and it's also the worst job I could ever have, based on my personality profile, you know. And so for some people it's going to be great, and for some people it's going to not be what you think it is.
Right.
So the biggest common misconception that I always find when people are getting into it is people think that it's, you know, showing luxury homes and doing, you know, like all of this stuff that they see on HGTV, which is like maybe 1%, probably not even 1%. When was the last time you showed an actual luxury home?
Right.
I don't even know.
No.
I just had a listing appointment at a really, really nice home last week, but you know, that's not what it's all about. So that would be the first thing that I would say to anybody who, you know, wants to get into it because you think that it's this lifestyle of you know, glamour and all of that.
It is. It's definitely extremely rewarding. Like once you get your feet underneath you and you start getting referrals and things like that, like I find that there's just a lot about the business that I thoroughly enjoy, and I love like finishing a transaction and watching, you know, families kids pick out rooms and things like that, and it's awesome. And then you have the chaotic side where you start dealing with a lot at one time once you really get going, and then that's when it's not as glamorous, I think, as it looks.
Well, I would say that very, very rarely is it ever glamorous. Yeah. But like, to what you're saying, and that's a perfect point to make, is it's extremely rewarding, but not in the way that you might think it is.
Right.
It's not rewarding in the, you know, driving Lambos and doing, you know, all the stuff that you think it is when you see it on TV. So if your heart is in it and you really care about your clients and all that stuff,
it's a relationship business. It's not
sales.
Yeah. It's not.
And you get sucked in to the drama that is a real estate transaction, just the process of
that's
selling
what I
your
mean
house
too, by like when you start getting a lot of deals going at one time, and there's so many different hurdles through, you know, from negotiation, inspection, appraisal, the underwriting, all the way to the finish line. If there's occupancies involved, like whatever might be going on with the entire situation can be very difficult to balance when you have a lot of that happening at once.
Yeah, and it's difficult not to take it home with you, and it's difficult not to take things personally, and it's difficult not to become emotionally attached to your clients and to situations, and so that's a little bit about what it's actually like. So tell me, why did you want to get into real estate when you first got into it? What was the initial, like, this is drawing me to that.
I just wanted to do podcasts and drink water, Luke.
Yes.
No, for me, it's kind of hard to. Obviously, you're just at that point, like early in my career, I'm like, is this, a good financial decision for me? It's like it was a good opportunity, I think, I think a lot of it was like after talking with you, I was like, that, it sounds like something I could do. And I think that if it helps me, um, you know, get into a career that has a lot of earning potential, I'd be lying if I didn't say that that was a huge factor.
Yeah, me too.
But a lot of it too was like you're not stuck in one place all the time. You're not clocking in, you're not clocking out. You're controlling your schedule to some extent.
Yeah.
You have that freedom, that balance, but it also depends on how much you want to put into it. Because if you're going to go all in,
Oh, yeah.
like when I first started, I was hitting every prospecting pillar. You're just going around, you're networking with people, you're trying to build relationships, and yeah, I think a big part of like wanting to get into it was just the idea that I was in control of my schedule, my earning potential, all of that side of it. And then as I got into it, that's when you really start learning about like what it's all about. And I realized it's not a sales game. It's like you're just building relationships and trying to help people and network with people, and I find that to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and a hell of a lot more fun than sales.
Yeah, there's a lot of it that isn't fun.
Well,
But
yeah.
but there again, it's like a 50-50 balance of being different from any other career,
Yeah.
where you're stuck to a certain schedule, you're clocking in, you're clocking out.
Yeah.
You get to control it, and sometimes that's not easy either, because it's really easy to not put in the work
Well, yeah.
and fall behind, and you're riding a real estate roller coaster all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was the same thing. I think one of the main things that drew me to it, aside, I was just looking for something different. I didn't want to work in Saginaw anymore. That was the main deal. I didn't like the commute, and I didn't want to do that. But also, I never have been wired to be an employee. I just can't punch the clock, dude. It's not in my DNA to feel comfortable selling my time for money. A lot of people, it works great. I'm not saying anything bad about it. It is just so not for me.
Right.
And so there was that, but went into it thinking that you're going to be a millionaire. All real estate agents are,
There's a lot of hustle.
you don't realize what it's actually like. The
Lot
first
of
thing
hustle.
is that you're not getting paid. You're not getting paid. If you sell a house on day one, by the way, you won't.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting paid for months. And by the way, it's probably going to take several months to get your first sale. So you got to be financially prepared to be able to withstand that. So I came into it thinking that it was going to be glitz and glamour and a high earning potential, and it is a high earning potential.
I probably had a similar thought process too.
Yeah, you think that,
from the jump, but no, there's you got to do a lot of grinding, a lot of hustling, and a lot of relationship building, and then staying top of mind 24/7.
Yeah.
A lot of open
It's a
houses,
get what you give biz, and which I like, because I like to get what I give, and for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
That's just in the way that I am. But and it does have a very high earning potential. It's not that it doesn't. I know some real estate agents that make a lot of money, but the average real estate agent sells like 3 transactions, like nationally, like 3 transactions. The average real estate agent, I think.
Which is more of a side.
Right.
Side gig at
I
that.
can't remember, but it was like $27,000 a year is the average real estate agent income. So, put all of the high earners and all of the guys that do nothing, and, put them in a melting pot, and it's somewhere around there. So it's one of those things where, if you want to give a little bit more, do a little bit more, you want to grind, then you could have a high earning potential. But if you think that you're going to just come in, be a real estate agent and sell houses all day, every day, you just don't understand what it's actually like to be a real estate agent. So, yeah, I think those are kind of the same thing as you. I wanted to be on my own schedule. I wanted to be close to home. At the time I had a little baby. like a year-old baby and like a 5-year-old
Yeah.
kid. I didn't want to be away from them. My situation, my dad lived with us, and we cared for him, and it was hard on my ex-wife, to be taking care of everything while I was gone all day. Not that it really changed. I was just closer to home, but that was kind of a factor in it too. So that's what attracted me to it. So, tell me, what is your favorite things that you love about being a real estate agent?
My favorite things? The road snacks. It's a great reason to have a box. My sister-in-law got me a box with my name on it one year,
Yeah, I remember that.
full of beef jerky, pistachio stuff, some candy here and there, which can be dangerous. Try to stay away from that.
Yeah,
But
didn't she get you some like gift
there's
certificates
Tums in
to?
there, lotion in there, like a care package while you're on the road, because when you're doing a lot on the buyer side, you're doing a lot of traveling around. So, love the road snacks.
That's your favorite thing about real estate?
That's the best part of it. No, you have something in mind? So I
Golf
can ponder
outings,
this for a
dude.
second?
Golf outings are
Okay.
the best
No,
part
all
of
right.
real
That's-
estate.
That's amazing. I didn't think of that.
Dude,
Yeah.
golf outings are the best part. Probably the second best is
Golfing with Tom Holland.
yes. On
He
a
has to be
July
on your
100
foursome.
degrees out, Tom's going hard.
Now I wish Tom
He's
needs
got
to
the
be next
lion
guest.
roaring.
Yeah.
That's when you know that you're a real estate agent. Also, all of the like lenders and inspectors and stuff that bring you candy and cookies and food and stuff during the holidays.
Yeah. It's the snack.
It's the perks.
It's the office snacks, the camaraderie, the golf, helping people with huge decisions.
Mhm.
Helping them move to a new home, which is always very special.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect excuse to drink coffee more than you should. Being in the real estate office.
Yeah.
Love coffee.
Yeah. Also, you don't really have to wake up in the morning.
Well, you have a whole morning routine.
Yeah,
Tell us
I
about
do.
that.
I
Tell us
do
about
now.
the morning routine.
But for like 5 years, I never woke up to an alarm a single time.
Mm-hmm.
I just woke up when I got up and rock and rolled. But yeah, now I have a routine. Exactly. One Yeti full of coffee while I'm still in bed, scrolling in my bed with my coffee.
Yeah, sending
Sending Kyle and B-Rad memes for
the
days.
last guest, Mr. Shock.
Yes. B-Rad shock. And then, then generally I'll get up. If it's a workout day, I'll usually eat and then wait 90 minutes and work for the 90 minutes while I'm eating. And then I get in the weight pit, work out, get some cardio going, and then take a shower and rock and roll.
See, that's what's nice
Hit
too.
the
Is
steam
like
room.
if you want to factor in like a habit
For
on
sure.
gym time and stuff.
I don't know
Now
how I would do
lately-
it if I had like just a punch the
Right,
clock
like
9 to
now
5
I
job.
can pick up late from school, and then him and I just go straight to the gym. And if I was working somewhere else where I wasn't out till 5 or something like that, I wouldn't be able to do that.
And by the way, don't get us wrong. It's not like you can work whatever 70 hours a week that you want to work. It just allows for flexibility to be able to, do things in the middle of the day and all those kind of things. So yeah, those are the perks.
Weekends for us is a good time to be working.
Yeah, weekends. Yeah, we don't know what weekends are. We don't know what vacations are. We don't know what holidays
are.
are.
It's a continuous cycle of like work and plan.
Yeah, which leads me to the next one, which is, what do you hate about being a real estate agent?
I don't even know if I can just. I don't even
How
know
much
if I
time?
can
How much room do we have on the SSD card here?
Yeah. Jeez, oh Pete's. So, I mean, you might have to cut out this long pause while I ponder this. I need to be.
Here, I'll start.
I need to be careful.
The thing that I hate the most about being a real estate agent is that you cannot disconnect. There's no way. You cannot just unplug and be gone. Unless you have a really, really close friend or something like that that is so in tune with your business that they would be able to handle it, because you're never at zero.
Yeah.
You never have nothing. You always have something. And your clients have needs, and the needs of a real estate client is time sensitive.
Oh yeah.
And you cannot just walk away and say, I will not be available for 10 days straight. You cannot get a hold of me. If you do, you are going to lose whatever
you'll lose that
you've been
business.
working on. And it's so hard to get back to it. So I very, very seldom go on vacation. I've gone on a couple of vacations in my entire
And even
11
when
year
you're
career.
on vacation, it's hard to enjoy the vacation.
Yeah,
you
because you're
gotta
stressed out.
Yeah, you're stressed out the whole time thinking about, you know, what's going on with this and that and this, and people are still communicating with you because they have to.
Well, yeah.
Everything's time sensitive. Everybody's, especially with these past few years as the market's
Oh,
been
yeah.
very fast paced.
People are not going to wait for you.
Wait for you.
They're not gonna wait for you.
You're either a full-time nonstop agent or you ain't getting the business.
Or you got to pay. Another thing is people don't, and not that they care,
Or
because
pay another,
right,
someone to-
real estate clients, buyers and sellers, do not care about our problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to, care if we're not available or whatever. They when they need something, they need it now, and they're going to find somebody. So the way that a lot of us do it is we pay. So if a buyer's agent wants, so if a buyer wants to see a house, for example, and I'm on vacation in the Smoky Mountains, obviously I'm not there. In order for my client to be able to see that house, I got to pay.
Yeah.
Usually at least $50 for them to be able to see that house, if I'm able to find somebody to do it. Those are the things that a lot of people don't realize.
Quite often, and and you don't
all the time,
you don't
every
tell
time.
Your clients that.
Well, no, because they don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
They only care about what they need, and that's okay. By the way, I'm not saying that's wrong. That's
just for the sake of raw conversation.
Right. That's a normal notion. You only care about what is going on in your life and what affects you, and so that's not a complaint towards buyers. It's just I'm explaining the way that it is. So,
and that kind of goes hand in hand with another thing, like that people might not think about, is that we get paid $0 regularly. There's no base salary or anything like that. It's 100% commission.
Yep.
And you could show somebody houses for a year and they could something could totally change.
You could not be available on the exact moment that they need you, and they will find someone else.
Yep. It's not like nothing is guaranteed.
It is a cruel business in that way. I always tell all the agents that I've had the pleasure of serving in my career, I always tell them real estate is a business where if there's 100 things that need to be done, you could do 99 of them perfect.
Yeah.
And if you don't do all 100, you get $0.
Yeah.
And if you do all 100, you have the opportunity to earn a lot of money. But that's the thing about a real estate transaction, is unless you do every single thing and you make it all the way through the entire life cycle, you make exactly nothing. Negative. By the time you factor in the fuel and the time and the energy and the emotional bandwidth and everything that goes into, if anybody who's ever bought a house before, I mean, think about what that process was like going through that. I mean, there's, it's the standard real estate transaction is full of peril.
And these are huge. A real estate transaction is a really big deal for someone. So
most people,
if something's happening where, this goes back to when you said it's hard not to take it home with you. I can't tell you how many nights I go to bed laying there for so long thinking about, okay, how can I help alleviate this situation or change the outcome of this situation? And it's hard not to, when you lay down. I mean, I'm sure some people might be really good at it. I'm not one of those people. I'm a thinker, so it's just always spinning, and that anxiety can go to bed with you, and that's probably one of my biggest
thing that you hate,
things that I don't like about it, is that you can't turn it off. You can't turn off.
Yeah.
You always got to be ready and be planning and be trying to help. And that's where the reward comes in too, is because by the end of it, sometimes you get done with a deal and you're like, I can't believe
Yeah.
we made it through
I
that.
know.
That this happened and then we went for that and this happened and changed this. And then by the end of it, like there's so many deals I've had too where, I'm thinking for sure, I don't know if we can save this.
Oh yeah.
And then something crazy happens.
Yeah.
So it's like you get a lot of that. Is this really meant to be feeling? When something.
Yeah, and I've kind of learned to make peace with the meant to be. I tell a lot of my clients, that the real estate gods will always have it the way that it's supposed to happen. Usually when a deal dies, and almost always everybody's quite dismayed by it, but almost always we end up finding something better. Almost always we end up finding something that's perfect. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one of those things that through hundreds and hundreds of transactions, I've kind of learned to just, to some extent, kind of go with the flow. Now, with that being said, I fight
better at it over time.
Yeah, you do.
Big time.
But you never, at least I never have been able to disconnect emotionally from
me neither.
My clients. When I meet a client and I begin to serve them and I begin to represent them, I become emotionally attached to them and what's best for them. And when people try to dirty dog them, it pisses me off, dude. And like if somebody tries to pull a fast one,
you know every detail of their situation, and if you have a big heart, I'm that same way too. I care a lot about people and their situation and what they're going through and where they need to be, and so that's another thing you take on and take home with you.
I think that makes us good agents, though.
No, it does.
I mean, it keeps our heart in the right place.
That's important.
Logan, a long time ago, when I first met him in my first summer as an agent, he said, never ever allow any amount of money, no matter how much, to come in between you and your fiduciary duty to your client. And he said, just trust me. That will serve your career in the long term way more. There's no amount of money that's worth it. And I've always taught my agents that, and I've always thought that, and it helps once you get on your feet and you're not living and dying by every single thing, to be able to just solely focus your energy on what's best for them. Well, what's best for your client. But with that kind of, and just the way that I am and you are, like you get sucked in.
Doing anything other than
there's some, not many, not most,
not many,
but some that do it that way, and then we all get a bad name for it,
Right. That's what I was going to get to, is that, and especially as an agent, if you're trying to create a long career out of it, you can't be being known as somebody that does.
Well, no, you cannot sustain. Real estate is not about sales.
You want your Zillow account to have 1-star reviews? You won't survive.
I know. Yeah, you're going to be 50 pages down the Zillow reviews. No, real estate is not a sales job. It seriously
it's a relationship.
It's a relationship business. It's a people business. It's a knowledge business. You have to know the anatomy of a real estate transaction, and you only know it through experience. You and I have gone through the home buying and selling process that most people go through maybe 5 times in their lifetime. So you and I have done this 50 times more than anybody will in their life. So we use that experience, and then you got to be able to teach it, convey the information, be able. That's where our value comes from.
You have to dial yourself back to remind yourself that they don't know what's happening or what's happening next. So you have to always keep that in mind. That's kind of how I like to step back with all the information and stay very basic and not overwhelm anybody. And then kind of, as things unfold or progress.
So anyway, this episode was just about trying to just kind of explain what being a real estate agent is actually like. It's great. It sucks. It's like anything else. For me, if you ask me on any random day, I don't know what I'd tell you if it's for me or not,
Yeah,
but
what
I can't see myself doing anything else.
That's why I made the joke at the beginning where I'm always, the first instinct is run.
Yeah, I know.
Run from it.
Just depends
But,
on who you are.
yeah,
And it depends on what
it
you think
depends.
it's going to be like. Because it ain't going to be like HGTV. That's what it's not going to be like. So
No.
anyway, my Lulu's about gone.
Cheers.
Have we
to
said
the
enough?
third episode.
To the episode 3.
And we'll see you next time. Maybe we'll have Tom with us. I'm not sure. He'd be a good guest.
Oh, hell yeah.